Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm canning some pork. That's right. I'm going to make my life a little easier and I'm going to preserve some more food to throw back into my pantry for a rainy day or for one of those days where I just don't feel like cooking and I don't have a lot of time. So if you're interested in watching that kind of content, stick around and I'll show you how I do it. This is in no way a how-to video, but more instead of a video of how I do it. Now, if you're interested in canning and you want to learn more, I will go ahead and leave the website and you can do your own research. So stick around and let's get canning. I picked up 2 of these boneless pork loins from Fred Meyer's on clearance for they're roughly each around $8 a piece. I'm going to get these cut up into chunks, then we'll get them in mason jars. All right, so we're just gonna cut this into little chunks. This is about the size of the meat that I am going to can. So I have 5 pint-sized jars here. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of salt to the bottom of each jar. You don't have to use salt if you don't want to. I'm using this Redmond salt here that I've had this forever. There's still plenty of salt inside. So if you want to make the investment, I would definitely go for it. This bucket has lasted me, gosh, maybe 7 or 8 years. Next, I'm going to add the meat to the jar. So now we're just going to debubble. We're going to take this little instrument here that measures your headspace from 1 inch down to 1/4 inch. And then we're going to slide this into our jar, making sure that we press it down, removing any air pockets that could be inside your jar. Also making sure that you leave at least 1 inch of headspace, which measures to be right below this rim right here. Sometimes you'll notice that after you debubble, you may have room for more product. Now that my jars are debubbled, I'm going to take my vinegar and wipe down the rims to make sure they are clean of debris, salt, any kind of fat or liquid. So just put your lid on, screw it on until it stops, and then give it one more turn. Put on your lid, screw it till it stops, add a little turn. Stop, half a turn. So these are ready to go into the canner, and we're going to pressure can these for 75 minutes for pints, 90 minutes for quarts. All right, so this is my Nesco electric canner. It holds about 5 pints. It has a rack inside. Flip that over. And it does everything. You do need to pay a little bit of attention to it when you're getting started, but until it comes to pressure. But once it comes to pressure and it starts its countdown, you can literally forget it. We are not going to do a quick release of pressure when it's done. We're going to let the canner come to a natural pressure release, because I've learned by watching Lisa at Sutton Stays that when you open the valve to release the pressure, it could cause siphoning in your jars, and I was experiencing that as a new canner, so that I'm not going to do anymore. So I'm going to take each of my jars and just place it into my canner. There we go. I'm going to add 8 cups of water. You want to make sure that you have plenty of water. Now we're going to close the lid. We are going to make sure that the valve is actually exhaust, because we're going to let this We have to let this vent for at least 10 minutes. So over here, we're gonna go to high. We're gonna choose our time. So for pints, you pressure can at 75 minutes. Quarts are 90 minutes. If you're doing anything, if you're doing anything in between, you always go up to the next size. So if you're doing a pint and a half, you're gonna pressure can as a quart. If you're doing just a half pint, you're gonna pressure can at a pint. And now we're gonna press start. It's going to steam for 10 minutes, and then we are going to make it airtight to build up the pressure. The pressure canner has reached its point where it's going to start venting. I don't know if you can see the steam of vent going up into my fan. The timer is counting down 10 minutes, at which point it will beep at me when that time is done. So I will bring you back when it's ready to seal the canner. All right, the countdown is to 0, so we are finished with our 10-minute venting. Now we're going to seal the canner and make it airtight. All right, the canner has come up to pressure, and our cooking time of 75 minutes begins now. After the full 75 minutes of pressure canning, I'm not going to do a quick release of pressure. I'm going to let the canner come to its, to reduce the pressure on its own to avoid any kind of siphoning. I don't want to lose the broth that I have with my pork because I want to use that to cook with. So just remember that if you are a canner and you use the quick release method to speed up your process, to get your cans out of there, to get more jars inside your canner, I would encourage you not to do that. Let it come down to pressure naturally, which could take about an hour and a half. Just find something else to do. I promise you, you'll thank me later. All right, the pork is done. I let it naturally release, and this is what it looks like. I'm gonna move these onto a cutting board where they can just sit and not be bothered for the next 24 hours. And during that time, I'll be listening for the pings to make sure that they have all sealed. Beautiful, oh my. They all look great. We're gonna leave them alone and let them sit undisturbed for the next 24 hours. In the morning, I will just give them a rinse, label them, and put them back into the box that they came in and put those back into my storage. All right, and mission accomplished. Out of the roughly 9 pounds of meat that we had yesterday, I got 10 pints of pork. They're labeled and cleaned and ready to go into my storage. Now that all my jars are back into the box that they came in, I'm just going to cover them with the plastic so it protects them from some of the dust, since they are going into a storage shed. We go into the shed every day, so I'm making sure that everything is staying clean and cool, dark, and making sure that moisture isn't accumulating on any of my items, because these will develop rust over time. It does take quite some time for that to happen, but we are just being very careful, just so you guys know. Well, I hope you enjoyed the canning video. I sure enjoyed the process. It is so much fun to preserve your own food, knowing that it is going to be shelf stable and ready for you to use at a moment's notice. If you are a busy parent and you don't have a lot of time to cook, or you just don't really feel like slaving over the stove, canned meat is the way to go. Pop it open, heat it up, mix it with some barbecue sauce, some chili verde sauce, fry up some tortillas, make a burrito, whatever your heart desires. This meat is going to be ready for you when you need it. It's going to save you time and it's going to save you money. I did mention that my jars are going into a storage shed. And I just want to let you guys know that, you know, we do live in a fifth wheel and we don't have the amount of storage that a lot of people have as if they were living in a house or an apartment. So I encourage all of you who are watching other creators on YouTube, when they say you have to store your food this way, you have to store it that way. Yes, that is ideal, but not all of us are living in ideal situations. Not all of us have basements and houses to keep our food in. Some of us have to accommodate. So that's what I'm doing. I keep it clean and I make sure that, you know, we don't have any pests. Everything is sealed up nice and tight, and I don't leave any open containers or any food in there that's been opened. Once it's opened, it stays inside the trailer until we finish it. If it is open, and normally it will get put in a mason jar with an oxygen absorber, and that will seal it and it'll keep it airtight. And then I just try to keep it as cool and as dark as I possibly can. So thanks for watching another video. I appreciate your support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my video. And if you have a favorite canning project, drop it in the comment section below and share it with the community. You never know who is looking for your exact recipe or even your advice. I'll see all of you in the next video. Bye.